Hello and welcome to lucky episode 13 of Spreading the Nerd. I'm your host, Clint Coombs, joined by my co-host, Rick Davis. We are also joined today by our guest, Mr. Kevin Ainsworth from Save the Game Media. He is much more talented than us two. So thank you very much for coming on the show, sir. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for the invite, guys. I know, well, Clint, we tried to get you in, but last time I think I did a podcast with Rick was that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth spoiler cast, and Clint right on cue said, "I'm out." You brought up Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, leaving. Very interesting. But Rick, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good, Kevin. How you doing, man?
I'm back.
Hey, you decided to join us again.
Yeah, by mistake. Yeah, you were mentioning, I think, on the podcast about the Final Fantasy review. Is that I know. That started with difficulties with me as well on that one. So yeah, we're
that's what he said. He's like right on cue. He left as soon as we mentioned it.
Can you imagine his computer just breaks again?
Yeah, that would be something else.
Maybe it's just the curse of Kevin. Maybe.
Ooh.
So how's your week going, Kevin? How we doing? What have you been playing? What have you been up to?
Yeah, it's going pretty well. I've been playing a few things, mainly one main game, and that's Concord, which maybe we'll talk about later, depending on some topics. Yeah. Loving it. I'm approaching my 100 match trophy. I've gotten multiple characters to level 10, they're 50 kills. So like I'm about halfway through the trophy list, which isn't a hard trophy list, except get to level 100 for your account. And that is absurd. Like I have almost probably 20 hours into it, and I'm like 25. So this is I'm like, the game's gonna be dead before I can get this platinum at this rate, unfortunately. But no, I am loving Concord. I also have been playing Gory Cuddly Carnage. I don't know if anybody here checked out my review over at Save the Game Media, but that is a nice little, I described as Tony Hawk meets Devil May Cry, essentially, where you play as a cute little cat who has a skateboard, but you like chop up unicorns, and it's just gory, it's bloody, it's a nice little 3D platformer with some more mature rated combat with a nice little story in there as well, more emotional than you would think. So really dug that one. And then I've started Visions of Mana, but I'm not far enough into it to say much about that one.
Before I let Rick go, the title of this episode is not given 24 hours to live, and that is to Visions of Mana, which I am extremely pissed off about, because I've only touched it probably an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I really enjoy it, and I'm just so mad about that. But anyways, on to Rick. How was your week, sir? What have you been playing?
Pretty good. A little busy, but I'm starting to finally focus in on things a little bit. Kind of have been a big couple weeks for releases. Certainly checking out some Wukong a little bit still. I haven't played a ton of that, but playing a little bit of that. Outlaws came out this week. I've been playing a lot of that. I'm sure we'll talk about that one a little bit. I did play a little bit of Elden Ring yesterday, and I tried to fight Malekith the Black Blade, and I got that son of a bitch to within a hair of dying, and I missed a roll and died, and I haven't even gotten close since. So I'm very angry about that. Yeah, but just kind of a little odds and ends here or there for the most part. But those ones have been kind of my main thing this week for sure. And then Astrobot this coming Friday, so that'll most certainly be slotted in there. And you?
It's been kind of a busy week. So, WoW started their initial heroic dungeons, so I hit that a lot last week, and then I did end up getting Star Wars Outlaws on PC. Tried to dump some time into that. I think I'm about 5 hours into Outlaws now, and like I said, Visions of Mana probably about 2 hours into that, hour and a half or so. And I like Outlaws a lot. I like Visions.
Are you still on? I forget the actual planet name, but are you still in Canto Bight, or are you on
Yeah, I'm still on the first planet or whatever.
Okay,
yeah,
so you're still extremely early then.
Yeah. I just got the first space mission where you go to the Imperial base to steal.
Oh no, you're not on Canto Bight then. Canto Bight's that first planet.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I was like,
starts with like a T or something now, I think.
Yeah, it's like T'Challa or something like that.
Yeah, and I just ran around on there doing open world stuff, which is a curse for me, because if I see an open world, I do everything but the main story until things get too hard, and then I do a main story, and it unlocks something that would have made my life a lot easier.
The exact opposite of my approach, where if I'm in an open world, I'm like, I don't care what you have to do. Leave me alone, people. I'm here for the world. I don't care about your little problems.
and then meanwhile, I kind of fall in the middle. I usually try to like, actually I mainline a little bit to start to get abilities and stuff like that. And then when I get start to see the abilities that they've shown off in previews or whatnot, that's when I start to like deviate and check stuff out. Like I am trying to get to the point where I can leave the planet at will. I think I'm probably within a mission or two of that, but not quite there yet.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all I've been playing. I said trying to hit Outlaws as hard as I can, because next week is really when World of Warcraft goes in full bore with raids start to open and mythic dungeons drop, so then your raiding starts, and it just
you're also forgetting something else, Clint. Something else
next
comes
week
out on Friday. Yes.
Space Marine 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
The one that you're harassing me about. Yes, that one.
Yeah. So Space Marine 2 comes out Friday if you got the expensive edition, right?
Yes, yeah. Okay, and then I think it's
Monday, I think.
It's like the 12th or 13th for the regular version.
Yeah. Because
I was just gonna get the regular version of that, and then I saw their roadmap, and I was like, I'm all in now.
I got the regular edition, so I can't.
That's what I think I'm gonna do. What platform did you go for that, Kevin?
I got Xbox, but it's crossplay from what I
it's crossplay. Yeah, I'm super stoked for that. I'm pretty sure our Baguette brother Silkenet's grabbing it too, so we'll definitely have a game night with that one.
Baguette brother sounds like a slur.
It does.
It's a term of endearment.
Yes, it is. And I don't know if you had noticed, Kevin, in the Discord, in the XCP Discord, a lot of the times when Silkenet says anything, we emote it with a baguette underneath it.
I have. I didn't know why.
Yes. So it's kind of like our meme for him.
On last week's episode, I said let's make it a thing where every time he says something, we do it. And as soon as the episode ended, he went into the Patreon thing and said, "This is a test to see who listens to spreading the nerd." And being Clint immediately put a baguette.
He's a good sport.
Yeah, he is. He's good about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I believe he's getting Space Marine too, so we'll definitely have to have a game night. But I'm super excited for that one. They keep releasing videos of like the classes and the leveling and the customization. I was excited when they first announced it just for the campaign, and now I'm just excited.
Years. It's been a long time since that other one came out.
I played it in January, so I've been waiting a few months.
I have heard a lot of people that have played it for the first time within the last month or two, or in your case, 8 months, I guess. But
yep. Yeah, it's gonna. I replayed it at the beginning of the year as well. I think on PC. I think I'm gonna get it on PC as well.
Yeah,
when I do get it.
My whole thing is like I pre-ordered it, but I don't know when I'm actually going to play it because I want to finish Visions of Mana, and then I'm getting the casting of Frank Stone, which comes out Tuesday. If you're into those types of cinematic horror games,
I've heard good things about that one.
Yeah, Supermassive makes.
Okay, I recognize the name. I was trying to think what it was.
Yeah, that one's only $40 too. Like, I hope that's a new pricing model for them, because I think their games would really do much better.
About that.
And then Astrobot on Friday. As I'm like this.
I was about to ask if you were interested in Astrobot.
Oh yeah, I got.
I know you're a platformer guy, so I figured you probably were.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it took everything in me not to get that controller too.
I have no idea if he's gonna watch, but I still got to call out Red Beast, man. Good looking out, homie. I got.
You got the link for that.
He put the second one in there. Now they have gone up available again since that point, but at that time when he posted that link, said, "Hey, they went back up." was that like a
Yep.
day or two after they initially took the pre-orders? They
I
went
think
fast
so.
again.
Yeah.
They went fast
Yeah.
again. So
Yeah, because even the first day, I think they had like a second launch because I got like an alarm or an email or something like, hey, the Astrobot controller is available. And it was like 20 minutes later. And of course, gone.
oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like, come on, guys. And then I think I
Yeah,
got mine off
Sony needs
Target,
to get that fixed.
Yeah, I would have loved to have one of the Hogwarts Legacy controllers, but that's like, pulling teeth. That ain't happening. But
Jumping on that real quick, Silkinet's comment here.
on pulling
Silkinet,
teeth?
what? No, about Astrobot.
Yeah.
Silkinet I don't know if you're a VR guy, but I am not too worried about that because what was the name of was it Rescue Mission VR? I think was absolutely a genuine good full length platformer. So like, whereas the one that launched on the PS5 obviously is a bit of a tech demo, but a good one. It actually is a surprisingly good tech demo. I'm not worried at all because that VR game was genuinely legit. That game was really, really good.
Yeah, that was good. And even the the tech demo that came with the PS5 was fantastic. So if they just broaden onto that, I'll be happy, quite honestly.
Yeah,
I think I played. Oh, go ahead, Kevin.
I would say I personally kind of am okay if it's a giant ad for like place, because like part of the charm of Playroom for me was the like history of PlayStation being involved, and like maybe that's not for everyone, and like story wise there's not much there, and like I'm just not going to this game for like a narrative. So like if you give me some cool Easter eggs and good levels, like that's enough for me.
Well, and also it actually was a clever and well done way to kind of explain not just the DualSense features, which it certainly did, but actually the PS5 features, like the way that you had like a whole level that explained how the GPU did this and that and the other thing, and you had the SSD superhighway or something like that.
Yeah.
One of them had an amazing song.
Yeah.
Sorry, my dog's barking right now. So we'll mute here.
GPU, we do it for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I loved it when you were like jumping around on the PS2 console and stuff like that. It was awesome. Yeah, so excited for that one. And it's time. Like, when am I gonna play this? I've got Star Wars, WoW, Visions of Mana, and now 2 games next week. I'm like, I don't have time for this. I don't. I'm probably gonna put Visions of Mana to bed until I finish Outlaws, probably, because I'm planning on hitting Outlaws pretty hard next week and hopefully get that out of the way, or at least the main story anyways. But what I have played of Visions is really good.
How long is Visions of Mana?
I don't know. I haven't looked into. I'm thinking it's got to be 20-25 hours. I'm thinking. Although I have heard that some people said it was long, but
I on how long to be, I only see one entry and it says 36 hours.
God damn it.
I doubt it's that long, just because that's
probably like
I really can't imagine it's that long.
But I love the world that it's very colorful. I like the actions and stuff, the enemies, and very nostalgic with the music from the past ones. So I'm definitely excited to play through it for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've enjoyed my first hour with it, getting up to speed. And I saw, I think it was Silkinit talking about the premise of Visions of Mana in the chat, like the theme. And I don't know if you felt this, Clint, but the first hour I was like, oh, somebody played Tales of Symphonia. this whole story.
Yeah, very much. It is.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I love Tales of Symphonia. I didn't know there was any similarities.
I'm honestly surprised that you're not a Visions of Mana fan, even if like maybe not story wise, but like I thought you'd like the gameplay of it.
I didn't play the demo. I never liked the Mana series, so I never really bothered.
Yeah.
My first
I loved that.
Was it Super Secrets? Was the Super Nintendo one that everybody loved? I thought it was terrible when I played it. So
oh my god, that title screen is one of my favorite title screens of just them looking up the mana tree and that music.
It's a good title screen. I'll give you that. It's a good title screen.
I've only played the Trials of Mana remake. That's my only other experience
Oh
with the
wow.
series, and I enjoyed that. Like I played through that multiple times, like with every party combination, and I was like, I had a blast with that game. So I was in on this one. I didn't even play the demo. I saw that one trailer. I was like, pre-order. I'm done. Don't tell me
Yeah.
anything else.
The demo honestly didn't do it any favors. Honestly, it was decent, but it really just it threw you into mid game with talents and skills and stuff like that, and you were just
Mhm.
more confused than anything.
I
Whereas this
hate
one, of
demos that
course,
do
you
that.
start. Yeah, yeah. Granted, it showed you what it could be, but I literally played it for 5 minutes because I was like, okay, I'm not gonna do this.
Yeah. Yeah, Tales of Arise had a similar demo where it was like, "Oh, we're just gonna give you the whole party in this one little area, and like you have everything unlocked." And it's like I don't know how to use any of this effectively
Right,
though.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
So you're getting more
and
confused than
t-
anything.
Tales of Arise's demo, it had it when you basically had a lot of abilities and like when you were supposed to like chain things, and it made no sense at that point if you hadn't gone through the progression of
Mhm.
learning how to do it. Because Arise's combat gets crazy complicated.
Mhm.
Yeah. So actually, since we've got you on, Kevin, and I know you like the game Concord, and
Mhm.
before I start saying anything, it's not that I do not like Concord. I played the beta. I think it's good. I'm not trying to spread ill will with Concord or anything like that, but it's obviously in a dire place right now with roughly 25,000 units sold. I just looked on Steam a few minutes ago, and the Steam chart only has 106 players, I think, playing
Mhm.
right now. And Rick and I were talking earlier, and we think that Sony basically, even if this is a bomb for them or a dud, like they have to support this in order for their future live service games to
Have a
hopefully
chance.
have a chance. Because as a consumer, you would think, oh, they're just going to let it die if it doesn't sell well, so I'm not even going to try it. Da da da. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's interesting, the Concord situation because everyone like I have multiple friends, like we have a whole squad loving the game, and
That's
then I
cool.
have people in other discords that I've played with, like they're also loving it the game. Multiple members of over at Save the Game Media picked it up, enjoying the game. So like everyone I personally know and talk to that has played the game really enjoys it, and I think that is extended to even like people like Ains and Joe over at the trophy room. Like, I keep talking to everyone, and I'm like, so why isn't the game doing successful? Because
Mm,
everyone I know enjoys it, and then I go online, and it's a much different situation. But the thing I always find is like these people haven't played the game, so like. It's hard for me to really grasp the Concord situation because I do think there are faults with the game. Like it's not a perfect game. I think the gunplay is better than most first person shooters out there, but clearly the character and art design isn't what people wanted. Like that I think that is probably the big thing people always point to. And if you're part of the crowd that's always like, "Oh, well, the DEI in the game is the reason it's failing," like get out of here with that nonsense. Like
yeah,
there is so much more wrong with the character designs at like a base level of like they just don't look cool. Like
right.
a character I was just playing is essentially Ned from Spider-Man. Like it just looks like they put him in a snow coat and then they gave him a gun. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, Ned from Spider-Man's in the game. So I think they failed at like the basic attraction level, and that
Mm,
matters a lot to people in these types of games when you market it as a hero shooter and then your heroes aren't really likable. In terms of them sticking with it, it I genuinely hope they do something because, like, obviously, we all, again, my group, we all bought the game. We're all liking the game. I want to get that platinum, so I need people around. But even tonight, for the 2 hours I just played, the amount of games where I saw the same people over and over and over again is absurd. And it's at the point where like I will call out like, hey, that's Buses Bridges. We played with them last game. Or like, hey, that's the Hamar that was on our team last game. Now they're on their team. And it is a little concerning because it reminds me very much of the live service game I loved, Battleborn, where it got to the point where I would go to the Battleborn Reddit and I'd be talking and I'd be like, oh, I just played you in a match 5 minutes ago. And then like I would play them again and you would just establish a dialogue because you only find each other over and over again. And it is concerning. While I'm not having any matchmaking issues, like I find a game literally under 10 seconds most time. I do think there is a concern like if you have a small fan base, eventually they're going to stop playing.
Right. Right.
And actually, this leads to something I had said to Clint when we were in the waiting room, specifically what you just said, Kevin, about, specifically playing the same people. This creates a compounding issue as this goes on, because once the game's been out for any period of time and the people that continue to play it get good at it, it becomes more and more unapproachable. So now you're going to have, like when you have this small of a player count, you're going to have people that are logging in for the first time going up against semi-professionals, and since there's not enough of a player base to differentiate it, you can't use like a skill-based matchmaking system. You've got to just put whoever it is against it. It's going to completely kill the chance of the game ever growing by this. They have to fix this somehow.
It's a great point, and unfortunately I think it's already happening. So like I know my stats because I'm working towards the 100 game trophy. So like I've played 75 games. I've won 53 and lost 12. So like we win the majority of our games, and the majority of them aren't even close. Like there are a few games we've had, but most of the time we hit 30 and the other team will be lucky to get 7. Or like I've had multiple games where it's 30-0, like the other team doesn't get a kill. It is that situation. And it's always against people that I feel are probably new to the game. Like they're playing level 1s. And I'm like, I genuinely asked, I was like, guys, do you think we actually have a detrimental impact on the player base of this game? And the resounding answer was yes. Like who's buying the game, logging in, sitting through this ass whooping, and then being like, oh, that was fun. I'm going to keep playing. It's it's not what I want. Like I'm just playing the game. Like me and my friends are just. I'm not gonna throw the game just so they can like have some sort of oh my god, like I got a kill. I'm gonna keep playing. Like that's not how you do first person shooters. But you look at it and you're like, okay, player base is dropping day after day after day. Does Sony throw this in PlayStation Plus like ASAP? Do they make it free to play and have to change their whole financial model? Because we know there's a premium store coming, but they said no battle passes, and like the XP grind is already insane. Like there's skins built into the game. I think there's like, I don't know, 6 or 7 skins for each character. And the last one is a legendary skin, which for some characters generally is pretty good. Like I was like, oh man, I wish this was their default skin because this one is a lot more attractive to like look at. But I don't know what level you even get those skins at, because I've seen people 50 plus and they don't have the legendary skin. And it's once you get to those higher levels, it's like you are grinding for hours to get a level in some cases.
Yeah, that's rough.
It seems like Sony just completely failed to read the room when they whatever show it was where they really officially showed this off, and the response to it was so poor. And again, I am not talking about the quality of the game. I'm talking about the reception by the audience. And I realize some of that you always have to take with a grain of sand, because there's always somebody out there that's always going to bitch about something. But the reaction to it was so overwhelmingly negative, not even neutral, negative, to the point they needed to go, boy, we got to I'm not saying cancel it, but we got to rethink how this is going to go, because this is clearly not going to succeed in the current.
I'll hold my hands up and say, like, we live reacted to that state of play where it was revealed, and we were all pretty down on it. Like we didn't think it was a good showing. Even like leading up to the game, I was like, I don't think this game's going to do well. But then they're like, oh, the beta's open for all PS Plus players. You don't need a pre-order anymore. I'm like, sold. Like I'll try it. And then I tried it and I was like, oh wow, this game is really fun. Like I'm loving the gameplay of this. And I just don't think that was enough for most people.
Right.
I think they need a little something more enticing than just good gunplay when and I'm not saying like I prefer the $40 model. Like I actually like paying $40, having everything in the game, not having to worry about time gated content and all the extra egregious microtransactions. Like keep skins affordable, that's fine. But I can see people saying $40, that's a little too much for me when this other game might have a little like worse gunplay, but is free. And I think that's where the majority of people that are outside the Twitter space that tells you it's all because they're ugly live.
A good way to go, but it almost might not work because of, I don't know if it's just a mode or whatever, but I know how it works, that it makes you cycle the player that you're playing as or whatever, or the character you're playing as. They almost maybe should have considered the $40 model. I am on record as saying I am not a fan of the free-to-play model. I've never have been, and I'm never going to be. Especially in a game like this where talent level does matter. I mean, unfortunately, with so few player count, but that's neither here nor there. But it is important at that point to create an actual barrier of entry to make sure that someone's not just clowning everybody, right? Smurfing. But what they might have needed to do was have your $40 model, and then also have I forget what is it? I forget what game it is that has a bunch of different characters, but it also has a free-to-play model where it basically lets you pick 2 or 3 characters a week or whatever, whereas if you obviously pay for it, you pick the whole roster. But again, I know that because of the way that it makes you cycle characters in certain modes, that might not actually work. But something along those lines might almost be the kind of area they have to negotiate with it on, you know?
Right. And then we were also talking about pre-show, like they want to carry on this story and tell the story through their seasons and stuff. And it's like, how do you pay for development when you only sold 25,000 copies? So it's almost like you have to go back on what you're saying for like they weren't going to charge for seasons or anything like that, which is fantastic. But with selling so little, like I feel like they have to do some type of free to play or some type of selling something to,
if it goes free to play or PS Plus or something to increase the player base, they need to do a make good with the people that actually bought it for $40 for sure. Like
we were mentioning
whether it's giving free battle passes, unlocking all the current skit, like something.
Yeah, we were mentioning that if you bought it within this time period, that yes, everything we release, you do get free. And then, you know, people who got it free to play, you know, sorry, you have to pay for what you want to play, type of thing.
Right.
But I feel like they have to get funding somehow to keep it going.
Well, it's an uphill battle because they have to increase the player count before they can worry about anything else. Like that has to be the first step. Then you worry about doing everything else to maintain the player base.
Yep. Yeah, I don't think it's long before we see it in the PlayStation Plus program. You know, hopefully a little bit further out, so people who bought it don't feel like they got slapped in the face, type of thing. But
I personally am like, if they told me, hey, we're gonna add it to September, I'd be like, that's fine. Like I've put almost 20 hours into it already. $40, that's $2 an hour. Like that is a good value per hour for me to feel like if the game died right now, I'd be like, I had a great time. I got my money's worth for $40. I know some people don't feel that's a good value proposition, but I like that's good for me. I will say, you brought up the cutscenes. What is the point in doing these? I implore you, just don't do it anymore. You are wasting money. You are wasting developer resources because I've seen numbers thrown around like, oh, this game was in development for 8 years, which I firmly don't believe it was fully 8
I think
years of development.
idea
It was a
years ago.
different game
Yeah.
in the first like 4 years of it. Yeah.
Like
Right.
just like how we had the idea for Destiny way back in 2007. Stuff like that. So like 8 years, and I've seen some people say 200-300 million dollars, which I'm like, they're including the cost of acquisition from Sony. This is like $100-ish million game, and I have to say, I think a lot of that went to mocapping and those cutscenes, which
for sure
seems like a complete waste of money to me, because every character, when you select them, has one line of dialogue when you pick them. I'm like, you couldn't even record another. You know how many times I've heard "me and my crew" every single time I pick a character? Every time, I'm like, it's not even good. Like, the characters don't banter with each other in between matches. Even the end dialogue, like when the scoreboard comes up, you hear the same announcer voice say the same 4 or 5 lines every time.
That's
and it's
rough.
like, got in fast, got in good. They never saw us coming. I'm like, oh my God. Like, it's not even good dialogue either. Like, I just don't understand the things that seem like simple and slam dunks that like would appeal to people. They really messed up to waste their money on things like the cinematics, which I skip. And I'm annoyed because there's an option in there's a thing in the options where it says don't replay cinematic on startup, and I've had that selected and it always replays on startup. So I'm like, you just want me to see it, but I don't want to see it anymore.
Well, and something we had brought this up a couple weeks ago, Clint, when it comes to these cutscenes too, is now this is only based on when we played the beta, but I watched like at least part of the original cutscene or whatever. Those cutscenes, as far as I can tell, have absolutely nothing to do with what's happening in the game,
right?
Because like, you have like this group of 4, 5, 6, whatever it is, people that are friends, but then it's not like you have these 5 people are red team and these 5 people are blue team. They're all on both teams. So it's like, so what's the point? There's like the gameplay has no bearings whatsoever, or not bearings, has no connection whatsoever to the story you're trying to tell. This doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Always missing context in those cutscenes too. Like, I genuinely don't know what's going on. I will say the animated like vignettes that Sony put out on their YouTube channel, I think look better, are more entertaining to watch.
Yeah, the animated things were sweet.
If they wanted to do something like a cinematics, do that instead. Let it be like, hey, you can watch the cinematics in game, or like direct them to your YouTube channel, like Destiny used to direct you to go to like the website to look up the lore. So if people want to engage with that, they can, but don't shove it in my face, because it's not doing anything. It's just not worth it.
Well, another thing is actually something you brought up there with those animated cutscenes. If the game had that kind of style, that actually might have helped those characters.
Oh yeah.
Like they made a huge mistake trying to go with that like semi-realistic look. They should have gone full animated, and I don't think people would have hated the designs as much.
Yeah,
we don't even call the characters by their actual names, because they're
really?
like one is called Davers. We call him Dave the Diver. And I'm like, it's more to say, but we're like Dave the Diver in front.
But it just sounds better.
Yeah. And there's a bunch like Haymar is she's like the warlock from Destiny. We literally just say warlock from Destiny. It's like, I'm like, we're making it harder on ourselves, but their names are so bad. Like, Ned's over there on the left, and it's like, who cares?
Isn't that one alien named Itzy or something like that?
Yeah, I think it's we call her Mitzi. And I'm like, I don't care to direct myself. Like, I just the robot is what we call the big guy with the
garbage
vacuum.
pail one or whatever it is. Yeah,
it's
that vacuum during the beta. God, I did not like that weapon.
No, I didn't either.
Yeah, no, I don't like that character.
Yeah, and as Rick said, we were like, what is this story? What are they trying to do with this story thing? And I was like, is it the maps that you're playing on part of the story? I don't understand.
Maps are pretty good too. Like, again, gameplay wise, mechanic wise, map wise, it's all there. You can tell there's talented first person pedigree behind what made this game. It's just everything else surrounding it has, and then you amplify that with the vitriol of the people online, and it just blows out of proportion.
Yeah, which as I started, I don't want to talk ill about it because at its roots, it is a good game, and there's so much hate for it that seems to be a bit much, of course.
Mhm.
And like you said, half the time people haven't even played it, and
What-
it seems like it's just one of those games that fell on the blade of it's cool to hate, so everybody just hates it type of thing.
When I see whether on Twitter or Facebook, whatever, all the vitriol against Star Wars Outlaws, it's the same thing.
Yeah,
I can tell within 15 seconds, within 5 words of their sentence, if they played that game
Yep.
or not.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
90% of the time, you can see
I have
someone that says like, "Man, I tried it, didn't like it," and that's valid. That's perfectly fair.
Yep.
But when it's almost everybody that I see that's crapping on it, I'm like, you didn't play 5 seconds of this.
Yeah. I before I started playing, of course, they had the early access of it, and I was scrolling through YouTube shorts and TikToks, and you can always tell those people that try to break the
Pile
game
on.
to make
Just
it look
pile on.
bad.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
it's just like, I know this isn't how the game plays. Like,
Mhm.
and then you've got all the comments of like, oh, Ubisoft bad, and this game is obviously shit tier. And it's like, clearly you can tell this person fudged things so it would happen like this. And it's like, this isn't the game. And then, of course, I booted it up. And like I said, I've gotten about probably 5 hours into it. And I'm having a blast with it. I think it's great. I think it's
It
awesome
has
to
its problems.
finally.
I'm not going to
Mhm.
say that there's
For
not areas
sure.
that can improve, but it's like,
Yeah.
I've fallen very much in line with what Sam thought about it. I told him that in the Discord
Yeah.
today.
Jam Pack Sam had a good
Yeah.
review on that one.
And that said, I have heard. I mean, Mr. Matty Plays. I had mentioned him. He did not like it, but I was like, you know what? The thing is, I didn't actually watch his. I haven't had a chance, but I'm like, I know though that he has a valid review because he doesn't just hate on things to hate on them. And
Right.
actually, he said, he's like, this is a game I was super excited for. I am really bummed out that I don't like it more than I do. So it's like, he's not. Everyone talks about like Dreamcast guy because that guy just hates everything. Like
Yeah.
like just those kind of channels. It's like those are worthless, and I don't even want to give them the oxygen to exist.
Well, it's weird because then you look at channels like mine and Luke's and all the people in our orbit, right? And we don't make that kind of negative
Right.
content. But I know our PlayStation podcast, No Limits, they like Concord. So when it came time to do their episode, when like a few days after the game came out, their episode was like, "Hey, we want to make a title about like Concord deserving better, like go the opposite direction." I'm
Right.
like, we are asking people to come tell us how wrong we are, and I'm completely okay with like the amount of comments, like my Creatures of Ava review, right? I recommended it. I thought it was a really good game. I didn't have the tech issues that Logan had, and that's his experience. So like that's completely valid. So like when I put out my review was much more positive on it than some other people, I think, even though it scored pretty well. First comment I got, maybe didn't even watch my full review, just DEI game trash. And I'm like,
Hate that shit.
why? Yeah, like it is like what am I supposed to say to that? Like, I'm not going to change your mind. I'm not going to be able to engage you in some sort of discourse like, this is my experience. You haven't even played the game, so how are you telling me the quality of what I have played?
Right. Yeah.
Well, I mean, how many people you think are lined up to just trash Assassin's Creed Shadows?
Oh,
I mean, the minute that comes out, you're going to see nothing but
the
zeros and
Ubisoft
ones on
hate
Metacritic.
it baffles me whenever a game comes out. It just, for no reason, like Ubisoft, you know what you're getting. It's like Applebee's. I know what I'm getting when I go over there for dinner type of thing. And with Ubisoft, I know what type of open world I'm getting, and that's what I want. If I don't want that, I'll just play another game. And all these people that are like, oh, someone was talking about Star Wars and made a TikTok video, and they're like, well, this is the game that is going to bring Ubisoft down after their last games that aren't, doing well. And I'm like, Ubisoft games sell by the millions.
Yeah, I was gonna say Star Wars.
And this is Star Wars.
And it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like, even if this game came out with like 5s and 6s, it's a Star Wars game. It's going to sell just by the name alone from fans. And it's just Rick had pulled up a number for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and it was made something like I don't know, like 200 million profit or something like that. I think it was higher than that.
I think it was $1 billion, wasn't it?
It might have been
thought
$1
it
billion,
said,
like
but
2.2
might not have
billion
been
or something.
profit. It might have been sales.
Right.
It
But it's just
made
like,
an insane amount of money.
and you've got people out there saying like, oh, it's going to be the downfall of Ubisoft. It's like, no. Ubisoft has been around since the beginning of video gaming, basically, and they're not going anywhere with their
more than
You know
$1
what
billion in
people-
revenue.
You know why people say that is because there's been rumors for years now that Ubisoft was looking for to be acquired, looking for new people to come in. So when people see that, their first instinct is, well, Ubisoft must be failing. They must be dying. They're on the verge of collapse. And I'm like, you can look for those things for business reasons other than we're going under, because I don't think Ubisoft is going under. They make some of the most successful games every single year.
Activision was looking to be acquired. You think they
Yeah.
were going out of business?
right. Yeah.
Activision makes more money every year from one game than almost every other studio in the industry.
Yeah. If I could take the money from Activision from like one day of their DLC sales, I could retire probably.
I don't even need DLC. Give me some skins. Just give me skins every day.
Skin money from Call of Duty at the beginning of a season. I'll retire.
I'll pick one skin, okay? Like I don't even need all the skins. Just you know, how many people buying this one? Yeah, I'll take that for the week.
Yeah, so it clearly, and then you've just got, of course, people hating on Star Wars as fandoms do and stuff, and then so yeah, I'm sure once November rolls around with Assassin's Creed, we'll get a bunch of haters because of Japanese this and Japanese that and blah blah blah, people talking about what they don't know, and not just like, just play the game and have fun. Like, why do you want to ruin it for other people? If you don't like it, that's fine. But I never understood the attack on other things.
Well, I talked to my friend, and we were talking about Shadows, and I want to say it was when they showed the like that gameplay trailer at whatever it was, Summer Game Fest or whatever, and I was like, man, that looks genuinely solid. And of course, it got nothing but hate. And he made a good point when I was like, yeah, of course, people were being stupid about it. He basically said, he's like, all of those people would rather the game be awful than that they be wrong. Like they just want to double down and just say how awful it is, and it doesn't matter if it is or not. They just don't want to be wrong.
Yeah, it's crazy, absolutely crazy. But yeah, in other news too, as we mentioned at the beginning of the show here, Visions of Mana, NetEase basically shutting down the entire development team behind Visions of Mana less than 24 hours of the game's release. I don't think I've ever seen that before in my life, and it has me kind of thinking that did the development team know that, like, hey, this is a one-off project and then you are done? But like,
apparently this has been like in the works for a few months now, them closing the studio. I can't say if that's true. That's just what I saw some people reporting, but I do think it's an awful look for them to be celebrating the release of their game and then also being, oh, we're closed, because like those reports came out. I got tagged. I'm like, I haven't even had time to boot the game up yet.
Yeah, I had bought it on Thursday because I guess if you pre-ordered it, it was available like 24 hours earlier or something like that. But I didn't play it anyways, and I woke up Friday and they're like, oh, the developer of Vision Management is getting hit with massive layoffs and might be just closing in general. And it's just like, well, who's going to want to work for NetEase anymore? And it's just, who wants to get in game development or work with a large publisher or company when even the game came out reviewed fine? Hopefully it sells well. We don't even know because it wasn't even out 24 hours and you're getting canned already. Like, there's just no safety in the work environment in this at all, it seems.
Yeah, I would love to know, like, did the game just not hit pre-order? Like, is it bombing financially? I have no idea. Like, the only story I've seen is they closed the studio because, like you said, critically, it's not a masterpiece, but like it's around high 7s, low 8 is where most reviews I think put it. And I'm like, that's a good game for a series that has long been dormant for the most part, right?
15 years.
Yeah, so I look at that and I don't see a failure of a game. Is NetEase being like, oh, this should have sold more? Square Enix isn't happy with us? I need more information. I need something like Jason Schreier to go in and really figure out what is happening here.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I started laughing there. Obviously, me and Rick were trying to highlight Silkenet's chat in here back and forth, and it kept popping up and over. But Silkenet says in the chat, the studio of Until Dawn remake is in the same situation, not even released, and rumors of planned layoffs already. Like as a person trying to get into game development or being a game developer of a game at the time, is like you have to be like watching over your shoulder 24/7, and that's a shitty feeling.
Yeah, I mean,
That's awful.
no matter what part of the industry you're in now, even if you release an absolute killer game,
Yeah,
if it sells well, your job is still not safe.
yeah, it's just
Your job is still
ridiculous.
not safe. And no, whether you work for Microsoft, the biggest company in the world, or for some tiny little indie studio, your job is not secure.
And we've been talking about that all year, I feel like, with things like Tango, where like, oh, you put out
Yep.
Microsoft's highest rated reviewed game in
Right.
ages, and you're closing. Sorry, like it's no longer a guarantee that like, oh, you put out a critical darling, that means success for your studios. Because people, and this kind of relates to the Concord discussion as well, but like people have been telling me, well, if the games are good, then they'll sell and people will play them. And I was like, I don't agree with that as like as a flat out statement. There are tons of good games that nobody plays, especially in the smaller indie AA space. And then there are games that I consider bad, broken games that sell millions upon millions of copies.
All you got to remember is this. I believe still, what is the best-selling Resident Evil? Resident Evil 6, which is almost universally considered the worst one.
The worst one, yeah.
I think 5 is worse, but 6 is terrible too.
6 is, rough.
So now it doesn't always work that way. Don't get me wrong, but selling a good game is not inherent, or making a good game, does not inherently mean you're going to sell. Look at Okami. Okami is widely regarded as one of the best games ever made, right? That game is so crap for Capcom. That's why they re-release it 50 times, because they just can't sell the damn thing. And yet, meanwhile, it's a complete critical darling. But
yeah, I don't know. It's a rough time, that's for sure. I had something on the tip of my tongue I was going to talk about, but now I forgot. Son of a bitch. I just saw an article here and then I backed out of it. Apparently, the head developer for Marathon from Bungie was fired 4 days ago.
No, I thought it said that was actually a while ago, but it was announced a few days ago. Yeah.
Okay. I hadn't heard about it. So
yeah, it was actually, apparently it actually happened back in like March or April, but they didn't actually announce it until a couple days ago.
Yeah. Reportedly, he sent some inappropriate messages to female staff members.
And then asked them if
did he ask them to see if he could see a car or something? A couple cars. Come see my cars.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on at Bungie, man. They're a train wreck right now, and this is just another, like, it's a cherry on top of the ice cream for me. And I'm like, oh my god,
it's clearly a circus there. Like, it is time to just clear out leadership in that developer.
Like, I mean, Bungie has made some great, fantastic games, but I'm really worried about this Marathon and how it's going to be. I hope it comes out great. But
I was going to ask, are you excited for it? Is anyone?
No, I'm not.
If it was actually Marathon, yes, but an extraction shooter,
but it's not.
No.
Yeah,
I don't care about that whatsoever.
It's not their original like Marathon. What it was, it's an
Marathon
extraction shooter,
which was a strictly single player game, if I'm not mistaken, when it came out on Mac.
Yep. But the couple Discords that I'm in, a couple Facebook chats or whatever, and nobody has said boo about Marathon. Granted, we haven't seen much about it or anything, but as a Bungie game, when Destiny was revealed years before it came out, people were ecstatic about it because it was a Bungie game.
I went to the midnight release of Destiny just on the fact that it was a Bungie developed game.
Right. Yeah. Back then, if Bungie and it was with Destiny, like you said, midnight release because Bungie made it. All right, I'll buy it type of thing.
Marathon is interesting because I look at PlayStation and everyone's gonna think I'm some sort of weird fanboy because I'm only talking about PlayStation right now and I do an
That's
Xbox
okay.
podcast.
I
But
was about Xbox. Same thing, Kevin.
I look at Marathon and it's an extraction shooter, but they also have Fair Games in development, which from what we know is an extraction shooter as well. So are they going to just let their games compete against each other? I don't know what the strategy is here, especially because like Marathon's going to be everywhere, and maybe that's they're like, oh well, this one you can only play here. But why would you play the one only on PlayStation when you can play Marathon everywhere with all your friends on any platform? It doesn't make much sense to me. And I brought this up like Concord, put it on Xbox. Like, what do you have to lose at this
Right.
point? No one's buying the game. Like, put it over there. Do the same thing with Fair Games. Get those live service games. Like, see if these Xbox went to PlayStation. Like, get the player bases.
Yeah, it's not hurting anybody. You're getting money. You've already, Concord's not going to sell any systems, but I don't think Sea of Thieves sold systems either. But if you get the player base up and they start buying the passes and stuff like that, then you're making money. What does it matter? And everybody gets to play the game and have fun.
Who knows though? After the Concord experiment, we may see Fair Games actually go multi-platform too. That's possible.
Right? Yeah.
I hope so.
Yep.
I hope so, just because I want to see the reaction online more than anything. Because like I expected more when they're like the Lego Horizons thing being on Switch. Like I expected a little more, and I'm like, okay, I think people are like, oh, it's a Lego game, makes sense.
It's Switch.
Yeah, it's Switch, but like the moment I just know it. Like the moment they do it, eventually, like going to an Xbox. There's gonna be some great
the fan base will implode on itself.
Yeah,
it'll be great.
And I'll buy it on Xbox.
Just on principle.
Yeah. Good thing I do with JRPGs. If it's on Xbox, I'm buying it there.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, the same. That's why I got Visions of Men on the Xbox. I was going to get it on PlayStation or Steam or whatever. I was like, no, I want to support it. That, yes, JRPGs can work on the Xbox, please.
Yeah, I have a gift card for PlayStation. I have like $150 on my PlayStation wallet, and I still bought it on Xbox just to send that message.
I'm part of the problem. I can't play JRPGs on Xbox unless that's the only place they are. I just cannot do it. It's wired in my brain somehow that they have to be on PlayStation or.
Well, it's understandable. Yeah, it was when the Final Fantasy games went to PlayStation. It felt weird playing it on the PlayStation after playing them on the Nintendo and the Super Nintendo. It felt weird, but you get used to it.
Mm-hmm.
Have either of you guys tried the Call of Duty beta at all? I know Rick hasn't.
No,
Rick hates Call of Duty.
No, yeah, I'm not a Call of Duty guy either, unfortunately.
Yeah.
To be clear, I mean, we obviously joke about it. I don't like the multiplayer in Call of Duty at all, but for the most part, I usually do like their campaigns. I don't care what you think, Luke. The garbage ass last one, notwithstanding. sorry, that one's crap.
But campaign was rough.
Yeah, but for the most part, I usually do like their campaigns. There's obviously a couple that are misses. I mean, Ghosts is awful, but like I really like the Black Ops campaigns.
I like Ghosts,
and I'm gonna guess this one. I played it. I didn't care for it. I'm going to guess that this one will probably have a pretty good campaign, but I don't care about the multiplayer, and that's what the beta is.
I did play because I wanted to try out the Omni movement that they were touting, and I downloaded it on the Xbox first, and it took a little bit to get used to, but it was definitely interesting being able to run backwards and shoot or dive off and shoot things. And in my mind, I was like, because I'm not really good with multiplayer first-person shooters on a controller, much better on mouse and keyboard. And the whole time I was thinking, man, people on the PC are going to wipe the floor with people on the consoles, because when you're diving you can turn and shoot and such. So I was like, if you got that response time with the mouse and stuff going around corners, I was like, this is gonna be great. I downloaded it on PC and it feels like hot garbage on PC. No. It is awful. I shouldn't say awful. It doesn't feel good. Chris had mentioned it in the XEP Discord. It felt like playing Twister on the keyboard, and that is pretty fair. It doesn't feel good because you have to, like, on the console, you, even with your directional, you're like rolling it left and right to dive a certain angle. So when you've got the keyboard, you get your WASD, you're like pushing 2 or 3 of them at the same time while trying to turn. It does not feel good at all. So that for once, I think the consoles are on a win for that one.
I will say, while this in no way, shape, or form is a proper evaluation of it, while I was killing a couple minutes until we jumped into the StreamYard, I had my window on Twitch, and there was some suggested channel that was playing it, and I was just like watching this again, not playing it, but play it. I'm like, man, I thought Call of Duty played too fast before. Sometimes I'm like, this is insane. Actually, like it did not look right with the omnidirectional sprinting at all. He may have been playing with a controller. I don't know. I couldn't tell you, but I was like, this just looks insane. Like, I wasn't interested in it in the first place, in the multiplayer side, and this made me less interested. So, but yeah. I am not the target audience for this, so by no means am I saying they should listen to me.
Yeah, I just want Delta Force to come, even though it's free to play. I'm crossing my fingers, and Battlefield. I want a Battlefield, which isn't going to happen for a while. But
I know a good first-person shooter you can play, Clint.
I should try Concord. Like the full. It's funny. I almost impulse bought it when it was getting released, and I didn't, just because so many other games were coming up. I do want that game to succeed, but for the developers and stuff, and just I don't know.
Yeah,
I played the beta on the PlayStation. Was god awful. I was one of those. You were probably up against me in one of those matches, and I was the 0 and you were the 30, and it was just terrible. And played it on PC, was a lot better on there, but I definitely need more practice, of course, with the different heroes. And I think towards the end of the beta, I got used to a hero that I like connected with feel wise. And then, of course, the beta ended, and that was that. So, but quick shout out to everybody in chat that joined up. We had all kinds of people in here, so thank you very much for popping in. We got Ethan, who's a friend of mine, and real life here. We got Krista, we got Silkenet, Nissa, just all kinds of. Todd was in here for a little bit, so thank you all very much for popping in and showing some support. If you guys got any questions or anything, feel free to shout about anything. We'll talk about anything. We don't care. We're not proud.
There's no shame here.
There's no shame here. We don't judge. Maybe a little judgy, but any other game news you guys wanted to talk about, or anything that was on your minds?
Nothing I can think of. It's actually, I mean, outside of releases, it's actually been a fairly slow period, which is kind of interesting. Usually, like late summer, beginning of fall is kind of when you start to see some news. We do have Tokyo Game Show is usually in September, I think. So we we should have some pretty cool news coming up there. Actually, well, you know what? Well, actually, the whole point of asking Kevin to come on here was that we did get a lot of good JRPG news recently.
Yeah.
And we also got the news of Falcom not having any idea what the hell they're doing with Trails of Sky, or what the hell it's called.
I'm still holding out hope. All right.
I get so excited for that.
So did I, because I was like, all right, finally I can. Well, I shouldn't say can, but finally I won't have an excuse not to play this damn series anymore. Because I generally have all of them, except for whatever the most recent one is, but it'll be coming tomorrow. Well, maybe Monday.
You own all of them?
Well, all of the PS4 and PS5 ones, I should say.
Okay.
Now, to be fair,
Cold Steel 1 through 4. I have Reverie right back there. Whatever that other one was, like I said, I ordered it. It'll come. And then was it Zero and Azure? I have those as well.
I'm pretty sure I have all of them.
Because
I wanted to support it, and I bought the what was the latest one? Dawn of Daybreak or something?
Daybreak, yeah, that's it. That's the one I'm waiting for.
And that one, I did play the demo and I liked it and I could understand it because it's a new story line type of thing that does, build upon the past, but
I didn't know that.
but you can get into it easier. And I liked what I played, but I just haven't started it up again. But yeah, I have them all. I think I just haven't.
Yeah, no. So like, obviously, I'm a huge Trails fan. And for anyone that doesn't know, Trails in the Sky remake, like the first chapter remake, got announced finally for the Nintendo Switch as of right now. And anytime they're asked about is it coming to other platforms, the answer is very vague. Like we haven't decided that yet. And a lot of the reasoning seems to be they don't know who's going to publish this game in the West yet. Like NIS America has been doing their publishing for since they got off of Xseed
Right.
for the Sky games. And NIS has been great. Like they do a great job. They're making the time between releases get quicker. They do the ease games for them. So I don't really understand why they're not going with NIS America. The other option is just do Xseed because you're using their script from the original trilogy that was on like the PSP or Vita or whatever it was on one of those handhelds. So like they have options. They could also self-publish. But the only thing I wanted was confirmation that this was coming to PlayStation. That is where, that is where all of my Trails games live, except for the Sky trilogy. So the fact that, hey, I can finally have them all on PlayStation and I can play this amazing looking remake. Like I genuinely had chills for like 2 hours after this was announced, guys. Like everyone was tagging me in Discords.
I did. I tagged you right away.
I was so excited at work. Like no one could even understand how I was feeling in that moment. I was like, I know I just played the Sky games like pretty recently, but like just looking at it, I was like, I'm in all the way. Like day one, give it to me. And then the news came out, and I'm just I slowly felt myself getting more and more like worried and disappointed. and I'm not at the point of like, oh, I'm not playing this like on the Switch because that full trailer is not Switch gameplay. There's no way that game is running on the Switch.
It's Switch 2, maybe. It's Switch 2.
I don't, Falcom, if you put a Trails game that is only on the Nintendo console after all the PlayStation fan base has done for your series, is pretty disrespectful, I will say.
Right.
This is Kingdom Hearts bullshit all over again. Where you had all the main Kingdom Hearts stuff on PS2 or PS3, then you release the odd ultra important prequel story on PSP, and then you have this one on the DS, or 3DS, excuse me, which that game wasn't good, but it also was quite important for the story of 3. It was like, what the hell are you doing, guys? Jesus.
And listen, we'll talk about the other things you brought up, I'm sure. But for the remake, like Trails in the Sky 1 is good. It's not my favorite in the series by any means. It's a very good game. Trails in the Sky 2, which I assume they're also remaking, even though they've said they need this one to sell in order to do that. Hey, how about you put it everywhere so people can buy it then? So if they remake the second one, which is like in my opinion, maybe in my top 3 Trails game, like that is a phenomenal JRPG. The ending of Trails in the Sky 1 sets up that sequel so perfectly. And then it's nonstop amazing quality game from there. 3 is divisive. I don't know if they really need to remake 3 because it doesn't follow the protagonists from the first 2 games. Like it's a separate story. It's about one of the side characters from the Sky games, and I love the third game. Like I think it's better than most people give it credit for, mainly because I think the protagonist Kevin is really interesting. His backstory is fantastic, but I can see them just not remaking that one because it doesn't really play much into the actual sequels. Like you don't need that for the Crossbell duology, the Cold Steel games. You don't need the 3 to even exist.
So I did just want to clarify something because I realize there's some people that might not know what this is. The best way to describe this is the Trails series is the MCU. And
Yep,
it
described
culminates.
that way.
It culminates with Trails of Reverie. Is that the name? Which is Avengers, basically.
So,
And is that sorry? I'll let you go because you know it more than I do.
yes and no. Yes and no. You are very. So I would describe. I think the MCU comparison is pretty apt. So like you have the Sky trilogy, and like obviously 2 it has is the building block. Like I would say that's Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 2, right? And then at the end you're like, I'm here to talk to you about the
We're really getting
Avengers
into nitty-gritty
initiative.
here.
I'm here to talk to you about the Avengers initiative, right? And then you get the Crossbell games and the Crossbell duology, and in those games you have characters from the Sky games pop back up, and you're just supposed to know like, oh, that's who these people are. That's like they almost sometimes Trails Through Zero feels like an actual Trails in the Sky 3, because they kind of intertwine those stories. And then you get to the Cold Steel games, and in those games basically everyone starts showing up, like the Sky characters, the Crossbell characters. And then Reverie is, hey, let's take all 3 of those arcs, and you want 90 plus characters to play as. Here you go. We're going to give you every single character. You're not going to be able to manage anything effectively, so choose your favorites. And then after Reverie, you go to Daybreak, and Daybreak takes it back to a smaller cast with a few returning characters. So it's not like you can ignore the previous games. But there is no doubt in my mind, especially because I already know this. So Daybreak 2 is coming out early 2025 in the
right,
West.
yeah.
They already are putting out the game after that in Japan, I think this month, called Kai no Kaseki, which again, we'll see characters from Cold Steel, the previous games return, team up. So occasionally they just have what I like to call Avengers movies, right? Like this is, we had Age of Ultron, now we're getting Infinity War, and eventually we'll get Endgame. But yes,
I am never going to finish these games.
Yeah, I get
so far back now.
I see the list of them and I'm like, I know I would love these games, but
You
at the
guys
same
both would.
time, I'm like, I have to put so much time into it, and there's so many other games, and I hate that I haven't played them because I have them. I've bought the special editions because they're so cool looking. I'm just like, they're just there collecting dust.
Listen, guys, I'm here to sell you on this, okay? You can get through all of them if you just ignore the side quests very quickly. All right, they all have
that, Kevin.
They all have turbo mode. You just keep that on. You fly through it 20 to 30 hours per game. All right, you're done in a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah,
2 years. Yeah, you really sold me there. Yeah, guys, you can put it in 4 times speed. It only take you 2 years to get through them all.
I like it.
But I assume you're playing other games at the same time. You know?
Right, that's the issue. Yeah, if you put me on a desert island with a TV and
that's the only games
for 2 years. Okay, we're probably okay.
Listen, the other way to play it is what my boy Savoy Prime from Carpool Gaming does, where he talks to every NPC between chapters multiple to see if their dialogue has changed, to build up the world. This dude is in chapter 3, 90 plus hours into Daybreak. I beat that game in 29 hours. What are you doing, bro?
I'm pretty sure I just got massive anxiety listening to that.
Some people do go crazy with that, and that, more power to them. But man, not for me. And Rick had messaged me this about it not being on or not being on consoles or Switch only, and I messaged him back and I said, I read this as we don't like money. It's basically what I read it as, and it's like, why would you? And as you said, most all of them are on the PlayStation, Steam. Why would you slap your fan base in the face like this?
It's the very minimum. And even if they were to bring this remake to PS5, which I agree they are going to eventually.
Right. Yes.
They need to, even if they do this, and they do this, at the beginning of next year or whenever the remake is supposed to come out, they really also do need to just release a collection of the games, as they were. Because first of all, as it is, let's say that I'm not crazy psycho and I decide I do want to start going through this, which would make me crazy psycho, but you know what I'm saying? That means now, so if I start with Sky 1, I then have to wait for Sky 2. Then I have to possibly wait to see if they do Sky 3, which you're saying might not even happen. So I'd be waiting for a while before I go to Cold Steel, which also then results in a complete degradation of quality of game I'm jumping in because I'm now going back to an old. That was actually originally a Vita game, was it not? Cold Steel.
Yeah, Cold Steel 1 and 2
Yeah,
are
1 and 2.
ports.
So basically, I'm going now from like modern games with the newer combat systems from Daybreak, then back to Vita games. So like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, saying it almost would be better to have the collection and then play the remake later.
So what I did notice in the Sky remake trailer is that it doesn't have the combat from Daybreak in it because lore-wise that wouldn't make sense. So like the action combat is written into the lore of Daybreak because it's the shard system, which allows you to simultaneously switch between them.
Yeah.
But like each arc has their own unique name for like the combat system, and Trails in the Sky doesn't have like that. Is the most primitive combat like technology that they had at the time. So it seems like they're keeping pretty faithful to that interpretation because it would just break the world otherwise. But Rick, you're totally right. If the people getting in on Sky Remake, are they just going to go play the 2D pixel graphic second chapter? No, they're going to want to wait for the second game, then maybe the third game. And I guarantee you, because Zero and Azure are both also 2D pixel games. If these remakes are successful, they're going to want to remake those ones. And then maybe they would stop because at that point you have all of them in the 3D engine. Like the Cold Steel games hold up very well. There's no need to like remake those ones. Even as Vita ports, like the combat systems were great. I can see them doing that, and that will extend the life of this series for years and years. The whole reason they haven't done a collection yet and they opted for this remake is Xseed has the publishing rights, and they don't really jive much these days.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll get it sooner than later on all the consoles. But yeah, the Trails games, someday I'll get into them. Someday. And I'll dedicate the playthrough to you, Kevin. So
yes. All 6,000 hours.
Yeah. Someone else in Ghostly Guides in chat had mentioned I'm gonna butcher this. I never can say it right. Is it
Atelier?
Atelier, the new Atelier game, which looks great. The last trilogy, the Ryza games, were so good. I really enjoyed them. It was one of those series I left dormant because it looked not for me. Just and then I was like, no, I'll actually try it, and I really like them. The story is really good, so definitely excited for this one coming up. And then we also got a new trailer for the Expedition 33 game, a good gameplay trailer, and man, the first 10 seconds of that, I throw all my money at the screen. Give me a collector's edition that's the price of a console. I'm there. I am so stoked. The music, the combat, so excited. And then I messaged Rick because I knew he was looking forward to it from the first reveal, and he was like, no, I don't really know about this one.
I totally that is not what I said.
No, not like what that. I said. Not completely.
What I said was, I don't know why, but that video did not do it for me. I am still very much excited for that game, and I fully acknowledge that I am in the minority because most people that were excited for that blew their mind. I cannot tell you what it is. Something about it, I was just like, man, I was way more impressed by the initial showing at the Xbox show. Yeah. But that's also a very early thing. So in no way am I like casting aspersions on it or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just
quit misquoting me, Clint.
the first like scene when he's like walking in and there's like whales in the sky and stuff and the music, I was just take my money. Take it away. I'm just super excited for this game.
Yeah, I'm in fully. This was probably the most exciting thing for me at the Xbox showcase. I know Sabero Gears of War E-Day, and I'm like, I like all these things, but like this is a new IP that looks phenomenal.
I think it was mine too.
My alley, Yeah.
I mean, it was in the top couple for me. It wasn't my number one, but it was very high. Like it was no lower than like third or fourth in terms of
super excited for that one.
Yeah.
super. Yeah, so a lot of RPG news. And then I also found out the other day that Kingdom Come 2 Deliverance has more writing in it than Baldur's Gate 3. So that makes me super excited. I think Baldur's Gate had something like 2 million words or something like that, and Kingdom Come 2 has like 2.2 million, which surprises me, but I'm also excited for it. So
The first one did have a huge script too, so that's really not like super surprising.
Guys, you want to know something funny?
what
That's about the size of every Trails game. Like,
yeah, I actually did know that.
and that's why I've never gotten into them, because or I want to, but I know once I start, I'm gonna have to pay attention to it to fully like enjoy it, type of thing. And I'm one of those, like, play this game for 2 hours, play this game for 2 hours, and I'm all over the place. So I know if I start playing it, I will have to commit to it to understand it and enjoy it more. And
yeah.
Silken it in chat. Did we talk about the Metaphor trailer Overload?
I stopped
we
watching
haven't,
them months ago.
Yeah, we every day I think we mention in the JRPG Discord that like Metaphor is being pushed on us so much, which I want the game, but it seems like every day there is a trailer for that game.
Another one. I bought it already. Like, I'm
seems
in.
like we'll get our
Stop
full
marketing it to me.
Now,
Am
but
I-
actually, like
Why
I
can't
had
hear
shared
you
the.
guys?
Really, I can hear you just fine, Kevin. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Well, I'll just talk to you then. I had shared the Mr. Matty Plays video in the Discord because I actually thought it did a better job explaining the mechanics than what they like. I watched it. I'm like, okay, I know it's a hybrid real time turn based, but I was like, how exactly does that work? I thought he explained that way better than they ever did.
Yeah, so you know what's interesting is the combat system that he describes in Metaphor is essentially the combat system in Trails Through Daybreak. They're very similar, although I think there's a few key differences in the Metaphor one. But again, I've gone pretty dark on Metaphor just because like they don't need to convince me anymore. I'm already in on this game. I think a lot of what they've said about it, like it's not just fantasy Persona. This is its own game, can stand on its own 2 feet, has its own unique mechanics, especially when it comes to like the social sim stuff. That's great to me. Like, that is what I'm looking for. I want this IP to succeed, and then it can stand as a pillar with Persona Atlas. I like Sega doesn't just have Yakuza; like they have multiple other games along with Yakuza.
I was also glad he said that despite the change to a fantasy setting, it retains Persona's like very mature themes. Because that's one thing about Persona I really like is that it doesn't shy away from like actual problems in the world. And that's what I like, you know. And he said that the one character, which basically the very beginning, his like backstory like starts right off the bat as like something just brutal, like brutally sad. Like his dad dies or something. I don't know the details, but
Classic JRPG affair.
Well,
I'm
right,
sure
right.
The world's ending.
his village will burn down. He'll get kicked out. You know.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Sorry, I missed there. My audio was for some reason not working. And I'm sorry if I cut you off, you guys, while like randomly talking or something there. But
you're very tinny sounding right now.
Yeah,
So
I'm not sure that. Yeah, I don't think
it might be
mic.
using the wrong mic. Yeah.
probably.
What other JRPG? Oh, we haven't talked about
Tails.
Yeah, Tails was my topic that I was gonna bring up, guys.
So I believe I'm the only one of the three of us that played Tales of Graces. Is that correct?
Yes, I haven't played Tales of Graces.
So I'll start if you don't mind, just because.
Go for it.
So for those who don't know, Tales of Graces was originally a Wii game. Never actually came to the West on the Wii, but they released a PS3 port called Tales of Graces F. This is the version that we're getting, but remastered, and I think they said there's a few like quality of life improvements being made to it, and I don't know what those are, but I will say this is not a Tales game I cared about. I'm gonna buy it because I love Tales. I'm gonna always support that series, but Tales of Graces was not one that I really liked. It's interesting because the first like the prologue, which is pretty long in it, it's like 10 hours long maybe. You're actually
Wow.
playing as them as like kids. I think I remember. Maybe I'm remembering wrong, but I remember it being pretty lengthy. But the majority of the game actually does happen maybe 10 years later, like when they're adults. It's kind of an interesting setup, actually. I mean, it's not that different from your typical, anime, JRPG trope, whatever, but you don't get games that do that very often. So, but I didn't care for the characters very much, and it kind of turned me off. But again, I'm going to buy it. But the good news is this is evidently, and they kind of do hint at this, not the only Tales news
Yeah.
we're getting. And so I'm sure we're going to get something at TGS. Good, give us that Exilia remaster, please.
Yeah,
I want that one so bad. It's my favorite.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So it is the 30th anniversary of the Tales of franchise, which is my favorite franchise in gaming. Like I will buy
it's
anything
really good.
I love
Tales.
them. I love them.
And that's not. I haven't played a lot of them. Some because they're Japanese exclusive, or because they were on the PlayStation when I didn't have a PlayStation. And this is one of those games. Like PS5 is my first PlayStation, so like I missed a lot of those games.
Yeah, you missed a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to I tried to go back and play like Legendia a few years ago, and I was like, this one is not great far.
I did not like that one either.
But that said, if you remaster it, I will get it.
Same,
right.
Yeah. Abyss is actually very good as well. I don't know how popular that opinion is. I think Abyss was kind of unpopular with people, but I actually really did like it.
I've heard a lot of people say Abyss is really good.
Oh, really? Okay, maybe I'm wrong then.
Yeah, I like Abyss.
I thought it was not a popular entry, but but that, I mean, Exilia most people like from what I've seen, because that one is just awesome. And then Symphonia is probably the most universally liked one of them. Exilia is my favorite, but Symphonia is also fantastic.
Yeah,
I really liked Bergia, and I think Rick, you're not a huge Berseria. I don't think you're a fan of that one too much.
I did not like that one or Vesperia. Now Vesperia is very unpopular, so that's not an uncommon opinion.
Wait, do you mean?
No, I'm sorry. Zestiria.
Calm down. Yeah, no, Zestiria is.
I was about to have words, Rick. Vesperia.
No, Vesperia is a very well liked entry, and I like that one a lot. No, Zestiria is the one I'm talking about. That one is not like.
I from the ones I've played, I think Symphonia 2, Dawn of the New World is the worst game in the...
It's up there.
It's horrible, horrible game. I don't want... Ignore that one. Don't remaster that one. If you do, I'll give it another shot, but like, just don't do it, all right? Don't put me in that situation.
Emil was a painfully big vagina, and I hated it so much.
Zestiria beat... not the best, and I don't think it, like, as time's gone on, I look back at it with less fondness. Like, coming off of it, I was a little probably higher on it than like time has been to it, but like I love Berseria. I think Vesperia is great. I think the third act kind of falls apart for me. It doesn't ruin the experience for him, but like it does take away something from it for me to like. It's up there,
have
but
a
like
very good villain. That was kind of part of its problem.
Yeah, but like Symphonia, I love. I'm with Ghost of Guides remake Fantasia. I would love for this remaster project to culminate in a Fantasia remake that like gives it modern quality of life features, the new combat systems, like make it modern, like Final Fantasy VII did.
We also really, at bare minimum, this is their chance. Release a collection, even if you don't remake them, remaster them. Make a collection that has Tales of Destiny 1 and 2, even though technically we never got the real Tales of Destiny.
Eternia, you mean?
Yeah, right. What we got was Eternia, and they called it Tales of Destiny 2. The actual Tales of Destiny 2 was a PS2 game that never came to the States. But this is the chance to bring everything. Actually, I want to say from PS3 on, we got almost everything. Single player wise, they had those weird like Tales of the World collections.
I played a lot of the mobile games too, guys.
Those as well. Yep. But up through the PS2, get us all of it, please. Get us like just give us.
Yeah,
there's such a history of that series. We need to have it, even if you have it in two collections, and one's like, Super Nintendo for Fantasia and PS1, and then everything else is PS2. That's fine. I'll buy them both.
Yeah,
I'm curious. We need to have them.
I'm really curious how they're going to like do they remaster all of them? Is there a stopping point? Is there a collection based system like you're talking about? Because right now, like we've had Symphonia remastered. They already remastered Vesperia ages ago. That's
The
everywhere on
definitive edition,
everything.
yeah.
Yeah, definitive
Yeah.
edition. They're remastering Grace's F, which we know because that was just announced, and we know Exilia's getting one because that was leaked. Like that is only a matter of time till that's announced. That leads me to like, are you doing the second one? Why
Yeah,
wouldn't you
hopefully.
do the second
'Cause
one?
2 was good.
Get Abyss. You need to. I think it needs a remaster. It needs a port to actual hardware like consoles, and then I just don't see a reason if you're releasing them all one by one, I will buy them all one by one. That is completely okay with me. If you think the older ones that have not as many 3D models deserve a collection, that's fine. But even then, like I won't care. If you gave me a Fantasia port, I'll buy a Fantasia port. It really doesn't matter to me. I'm just curious what they're going to do. Like, are we going to get the PS2 games? Are we going to get the Japanese games? Is it just for this year and then they're done? They're going to wait until another anniversary? I
Right.
just I don't know how big this project actually goes.
Yeah. Yep. But and to add to that, the if you go on the PlayStation Store, a lot of the Tales games are on sale this week too.
Same on Steam. I think most of them are like $5
Oh, are they?
too. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. I think Arise is 10, but everything else I think is 5. And I've
I'd love to Rise.
bought most of them.
Arise was
Good.
very good. It's
Ugh.
not quite how I want Tales to be, but it was a damn good game either way. Like I still kind of like the older style, but
Yeah.
after not liking Zestiria or Berseria, the Rise was much more of a step back in the right direction. For me.
Artistically, yes, get Tales of Hearts off the Vita.
I didn't like that one either.
I don't think I ever played that one.
I
don't
haven't
think I
either,
ever
but
heard of it.
I almost bought a Vita just to do it, and then I couldn't justify the
I'll have to
Vita
look that
prices
one up.
because they're insane. But no, Tales of Arise, I really like as a game. I think the combat is fantastic. I think the story is really good, mainly because it does look at Symphonia and kind of just retell Symphonia. But artistically, like they definitely tried to appeal more to the masses with Arise than their previous Tales entry, where it was more anime style. Like
Yeah.
they upped it into a different art style for me. And I
Yeah.
personally do like the older ones a little more, but if they continue forward with this, because it was, I think, the fastest selling Tales game, maybe the best selling. I'm not sure about the best selling, but it sold a lot of copies and was
Right.
critically, I think it's sitting at like an 87. So like that might be the formula going forward for Tales, and I'm fine with that. But I do want the older ones to get some love and be
Right.
able to be played like at future hardware till the end of time.
Yeah. Yep, for sure. Yeah, it's popular with, like you said, with Tales, the Skies games and stuff. People love those games now. They're JRPGs are a lot more popular than they used to be. Like, bring it all over. I want to play all of them. Don't keep it locked. God, I need it.
I want them to bring over Destiny 2, but just call it Eternia and really confuse people. Like what?
It actually was not terribly long ago I discovered that. I'm like, what the hell is Tales of Eternia?
Yeah,
I was like, oh. And then I discovered that we never got the real Tales of Destiny 2.
Yep. God. Well,
hold on. Spitting some facts right here. Rinwell. Rinwell is awesome.
Kisara, I love. Fantastic character.
I generally like that entire party. I thought they were all good.
Yeah, no, I love but I will say expand it back to 8. We need 8 characters.
Yes, and it needs to have. Kevin, did you play Exilia 1 or no?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so Exilia 1 did something I really like. Now, Exilia 1 did only have 6 characters, but it let you swap your party members in the middle of battle, even those that were outside of it. Exilia 2 did not have that, and yet it had 2 extra characters because 2 of the antagonists of Exilia are in your party. And it was like, oh, why'd you do that? Why'd you take that out? But I want that. I want my whole party available to me at any given time. I think they just couldn't be targeted by an enemy or something like that, and then you could just change out whoever you wanted.
Also, co-op. It's
Yeah.
a staple of the series, and you
It
didn't
really was.
have it. You didn't have it in Arise, and I understand, especially these days, like couch co-op isn't nearly as popular.
Yeah.
But I would love, and I don't know how they would make it work. You'd probably have to do off a save file, like one save file. But I would love to co-op this with
Mhm.
my brother, like because that's
Yeah.
how we've always played Tales games,
Mhm.
co-op.
With the older ones, I mean, kind of like really with Symphonia, the combat almost felt like a fighting game a lot of times. So it worked.
Oh
It
yeah,
worked
for
that
sure.
way.
They intentionally design it like a
Mhm.
fighting game. That's why a lot of you know what? That's why a lot of people don't like or don't connect with the Tales of Combat because they don't understand that
Mhm.
like when they say combos, they mean it. Your basic,
Mhm.
your special attacks, your arts are supposed to link together, and
You're
it's
supposed
up
to
to
chain
you.
together. That's
Yeah,
right.
it's up to you to figure out, okay, if I hit them up in the air and then use this art here and then hit them down, like how can I make the most of the tools available to me? And I understand, yeah, it can get complicated. You can play it very basic, but like once you really get the hang of that and like, oh, this is a fighting game at the end of the day, I think it unlocks a whole new world of possibilities for you in the combat.
Yeah.
I do have one more small thing I want to say about this while we're
Go
on
ahead.
topic. Can we all agree we need Silking It to go back to the King Owl profile picture? Because that was the good old days. Man.
Oh
Remember,
yeah.
remember the guy with the mustache and the crown?
Yep.
That was
Yep.
his original profile picture on the Discord, and I think we need
Better
that to come back.
times. Yeah, and on that topic, like I don't change my profile picture too much, but I do because I do get bored of it every now and then. But don't change your profile picture. Like people on like threads and stuff, they change their profile picture, and I just scoot right past them. It's like, oh wait, I do know this person because I'm just because I see a picture. I'm a photo person. So it always confuses me when someone, or especially in Discord, when you've been talking to someone for like months in a chat, and all of a sudden they change their picture, and you're like, who is this person?
I had that recently. I had to go back and check. I was like, do I know you? Is this who I think it is, or is this someone I don't want to talk to?
Yep. So I think we got all the game news out of the way. I talked a lot about JRPGs, which I could always talk about. I love JRPGs. They're just so damn good. But I think go on to our next segment here as we're a little into the show here, which we call Around the Nerd, which we basically ask each other a question that we thought of during the week. And Kevin, Rick did tell you about this little segment, correct?
You did, yes.
Okay, good. So basically,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
basically we ask each other a question we've thought of throughout the week, and we don't tell the other person. It's kind of off the cuff. They have to think of it pretty quickly, or we'll talk. I'll talk about like my question first before they start, so they give a little time. But just something little unscripted, as we like to say. So I went first last.
I'll say, if you wouldn't mind, I would like to go first this week.
Okay. I like
because there's reasoning for that. Because we can also, after we initially get through it, we can as we're going throughout the rest of the show, we can kind of think more on it as we go. You'll understand in a minute.
All
okay.
Right. So
let me explain the topic here first, and then you can both open the link I sent you. Unfortunately, you have to listen to my asshole dog screaming like an idiot. But so for a little bit of fun, because I got a little serious the first time, but I thought as a group, let's each pick the people from within our Spreading the Nerd, group of friends, if you will. Let's try to stay within those part of the XCP, so it's someone we all know, right?
Yep.
Let's take some of those people, and decide what Final Fantasy job they are.
Okay.
Kevin, I know you listened to Last Stand. I don't know how long you've listened, but maybe about a year and a half ago, I wrote this into Defining Duke, and they actually did use it. So you may have actually heard this before, but it was my topic, so I'm not stealing it from anybody else. I did write it in. I was going to go first. Oh, and the one rule is we don't get to decide ourselves.
Right? Oh, okay. So you're going to get the top pick. Okay, I see.
No.
The schoolyard bullshit again.
Right.
I see.
So even though we know that I'm the black mage, I'm not going to say that I'm the black mage, right? You guys would have to assign that to me.
Okay.
But
right, so go ahead.
All right. So I'll actually start with Clint.
Okay.
Because
oh god.
Oh yeah. By the way, now you can take the link if you want, because the link is going to have the description of what a job is, right?
Right.
And for those that don't play Final Fantasy, we can actually just like say what the description of the job is. So when you look at this list, by the way, it goes game by game up through, I think it was like 12A or something like that, what we called it. You can use any of them, doesn't matter what game it's from. Stay away from the ones where it like says Cloud, all right? Because it's going to say what he is. Just use the actual jobs.
Right.
So starting with Clint, I'm actually going to good old Final Fantasy 6, I think it is on this one. Now, technically it's a character, but no, I'm sorry, it's 4. Technically it's a character, but he does have a job.
6 is one of my favorites.
No, it's 4. I said it's 4.
Oh, 4. Sorry.
Clint, I have as the Spoony Bard. So he's Edward, but it's the Bard. Obviously, I'm just referencing the fact that he's referred to as the Spoony Bard in one of the famous famous mistranslations.
Oh
So
god.
let's see if I can do this. Hold on a second. I'm trying to. How do I? Oh, that's the wrong one. I'm sorry.
Oh, now we're just everybody.
How do I do this? Oh, actually, that's still not what I wanted. There we go. How do I share my screen? I haven't done that in a while. Is it present?
If we do
Present.
that,
Okay.
yeah, hit present, and then you'll
that's
click.
share screen. Okay. Select window or screen. There it is.
We got.
So I got it because Clint, having started the podcast, kind of gathered the group, if you will, gathered the fans. He
Okay.
he spoke the words and he's got the sweet pipes, if you will. Okay.
I don't know about that.
So that's where I was going with that one. Would you guys agree or disagree? Well, not guys. Kevin, would you agree or disagree? And same with chat. What do you think?
I don't hate it.
Also,
But can you sing? But
average
can you,
all stats.
Average in all stats. That's just facts right there, all around.
yeah, but can you sing? Otherwise, well, to be fair, if you can't sing, that might be what causes the effects, the pain.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't think I can really carry a tune. I don't think. I'm sorry. It's funny. I've always wanted to be able to sing, but no, I don't think so.
Well, that's what I threw out there. So,
all right, okay, I like
you guys can pick someone else from the group, or discuss.
I'm
further on this if
gonna.
you'd like.
I've got my pick right off. If you're all right with me, head going.
Yeah,
Kevin.
go for it.
Sure. Do you want me to just pick it, or do you want to do it?
Yeah, mine is going to be. It's
don't go with 14 because it does not have 14 on this. So
no, I won't go 14.
Okay.
It's going well. Shit. Now I'm going.
But still could be an 11 though, even if whatever.
Let me see, because now that you're looking at the games per, it's going to be. It's going to be Ellery.
Okay.
And it's going to be, I wanted to say Celeste from Final Fantasy VI.
I did say don't use characters, even though I did it for you, but I only did it for you because of the jokey Spoony Bard thing.
Oh, so I see. Yeah, it's just a white mage.
But Bard is technically okay. A white mage is in the very.
Yeah, a white mage, because Ellery's just super nice and always wants people to be happy, and I think that she would like take care of everybody really well. I think in a party, I can see Ellery just sitting back while I'm throwing arrows and Rick's throwing fire spells and stuff. And
got that right too with the fire spells.
Someone's up there with the sword and board going to town. And they're just back there throwing, cure spells and potions and Phoenix Downs and.
I would agree because that's actually what I had thought as well.
Yep.
Kevin, what do you think?
I'm not. I don't know if I know Ellery well enough to make this call.
Also, let's be clear. You don't have to take this super seriously.
Yeah.
It's obviously a joke.
Yeah.
I was also looking at mine, and I might break your rules a little, but
Go
you'll
ahead.
appreciate it for comedy, I think.
I'm ready.
Well, comedy's important,
So, is it? I want to do Luke. I want to do Luke.
Hit him hard. Let's go. Hit him hard.
And I just want to choose Vincent Valentine because he's a vampire.
That's way too much credit given to Luke, though. because Vincent is awesome. Which
Vincent
Luke is
is-
too. I don't want that to come across the wrong way.
Luke, oh, no. Yeah.
Oh,
Luke,
God.
I wanted to do it for comedy. Because
God.
Ains and Joe always call you a vampire on Cast Co-op.
Yep.
I'll allow
Yep.
it. I'll allow it. We'll
let's
let
high
I think
magic
that's a good one.
defense, high accuracy, low HP, low physical defense, low speed.
That sounds like Luke.
That
That
could,
does
that
sound
could
like
be
Luke.
Luke. That
Yeah.
could be Luke. I like it. I'm silking it in chat. Sorry, but Vincent is too cool for Luke.
Jeez.
Yeah, silking it also in chat. Is there a hype class for Ellery? And let me tell you, I was trying to think, is there some type of job that like I guess it would have to be something that casts protection or something or haste. I don't know.
Ellery is very kind and
Yeah,
nice.
treat yourself and just like, oh hey, I want to buy this, and they'll be the first one to say, just do it.
Now, actually, adding on to that, for Luke, I actually had another one that I wrote down. But I don't hate the Vincent thing. But I had thought Dark Knight. I don't think I would have used that version. I think it might have been on 11. And there was a reason for that. When I saw its description, this must not have been where I saw the description because that wasn't it. But it had said something like outputs a lot of damage but can't take very much in return or something like that.
That's probably the samurai. Maybe the samurai, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
That's pretty good. I like that though.
Yeah.
I like that website too, though. I'm gonna save that.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame it stops at 12, whatever that
yeah
game was. And then,
Yeah.
I mean, Logan obviously is the easiest of them all, right there.
the Corsair. Yep,
Logan's a Corsair, obviously. That's not even a question, right? I mean,
gotta be.
Look at this.
Gotta be.
Yes.
If that's not Logan, I don't know what is.
I was looking for a pirate class.
There's
Yeah.
Logan right there.
Yep, perfect. Or is there a cowboy one?
Found your Halloween costume, Logan.
Oh,
So,
You have
Yeah,
to get the
that's
weapon
good.
now, you know.
yep,
You got-
you gotta get the musket.
do you guys want to keep
That's
going, or you want to jump onto a different topic?
I'm gonna think more on it.
Okay, that's what I said.
And
The
if
point is,
something- yeah,
the
yeah,
point is
something
we
if
can-
we have, yeah.
yeah.
So I think my question is locked and loaded, so I think I'll go next.
Okay.
Do it up.
So if you could, with any developer, any talent, you can pull talent from another developer, you can make a super group, or you just want a certain developer to work on any type of game, what would you want from a part of fiction or whatever that you haven't seen made into a game yet, or just something from an idea from your head that you've always wanted as a game, and you really like this developer to make it this type of thing.
I got one already too.
The best answer. I have an answer that I've been pitching for years for this.
Okay.
Now, I will just say that I want Hazelight Studios to make this game.
Who are they? I'm not familiar with them.
They're the team that did It Takes Two.
Okay.
And they like co-op games. So
Yep.
my idea is for them to go to Nintendo and to revive the Ice Climbers series
Oh my god.
but as a co-op action adventure game where one player plays as Popo, one plays as Nana, and then you have to gather their tools like their hammers, and then you make your way up a mountain, sort of Celeste style, but it'd be full 3D, very cute, very adorable, very colorful. You can fight the enemies with your hammers. You have to do co-op things like to climb the mountain. Like, I've had this idea in my head for ages because I was like, the original Ice Climber game, as not great as it is by today's standards, even though it's still kind of holds a little special something for me when I try to play it. Like, it's not a very good game. This could be a very good, like, Nana and Popo are cute, they're adorable. People would know them from Smash Brothers. Just give them their own little like fun game to play, and like, I don't know, I can see this working.
I like it. I like it.
I'll allow it.
That would, yeah,
You want
that would be
me
pretty
to
good.
go, Clint, or you want to go?
I'll throw mine out there. So,
Okay.
there has been a book series that I've read ages ago. It's a 10 series book, and it's called the Vampire Earth series. And I'll just read a quick plot for it. The story begins in 2065 in a post-apocalyptic American setting. 43 years earlier, in 2022, an alien race known as the Kyrians triggered a series of natural disasters as well as artificial ones that enabled them to gain control of the planet and subjugate humanity. A plague has reduced the world population to 25% of its cataclysm level. Nuclear explosions have created a mild form of a nuclear winter, cooling the earth, and smaller events everywhere have added to the chaos. In America, the New Madrid Fault let go, destroying much of the Midwest. Major rivers such as the Mississippi have been unleashed. So it is an alien, like it says, an alien like the Kyrians, but they feed off of people's energy. So they don't necessarily suck their blood, but they just like can hold them and they just take their energy out type of deal. But I always wanted a game from this. When I was younger, I always wanted a massive multiplayer game of it. But right now, I think I would want a like a party-based third-person RPG or shooter type of thing. But I always thought it would fit MMO really well because the 10 books span the entire, almost a good portion of the United States as a whole, and each state has a Kyrian leader that they take down as they go through type of thing. And I thought it would fit an MMO really well with expansions and stuff of being able to take on these high leaders and stuff. And there's different types of Kyrians for enemies that they go into. But I was just thinking you could play humans and you could be like an assault class, medic, engineer class and all this stuff. But I would love to see BioWare in their early days develop the game. And I would love to see Obsidian Entertainment from their earlier days. I mean, they still write really well to write the game, but that's one of my dream games right there. That'll never happen, but that's one of them.
So I'm actually going to cheat, and I'm going to give you 2.
Okay.
Okay, because one's going to be a little bit less detailed than the other. But have you guys played The Saboteur prior to the unfortunate disembowelment of Pandemic Studios?
Yes.
Not.
Okay, so I'll give a general gist. The Saboteur was, as I mentioned, made by Pandemic Studios. So they took kind of a little bit of the gameplay mechanics that they learned from making the Mercenaries games, and they translated it into a very cool and very interesting and unfortunately underappreciated game where you played as an Irish guy. I forget his name, but during World War II, and it's actually about the Nazi occupation of France. Okay, and the idea is, as him, you're going through and liberating France, or not liberating, but you're helping liberate France with the French Revolution. What it did that was very cool is when you were in a district that was unliberated, it looked like Schindler's List in a way. So like everything was black and white except for that which was red and red. So it really was
very stylized.
It was very striking. But when you liberated it, that district went to color. So it actually looked really cool. Like it looked bleak and oppressive when you were still in a occupied part of it, but it looked bright and colorful and really cool when you were not. So I want that team to make a game like that with that same general concept out of The Man in the High Castle. Are you guys familiar with that?
God, yes.
So though, for those who don't know, The Man in the High Castle is actually a book, but I'm referring more to the Amazon show.
Yeah,
that's what I watched. It is an alternate history. It's a little more. It's actually a science fiction movie, but we're going to go with the alternate history side of it.
Yeah,
where the Axis powers basically beat the United States to the atomic bomb and bombed Washington, D.C. and won the war and basically have occupied the United States. The entire west of the country, from basically the Rocky Mountains and east. I'm sorry, I said west. Rocky Mountains and east is occupied by I believe they call it the Fourth Reich.
that's the Japanese.
Then you have basically the whole like mountainous region is basically a neutral territory, and the western part of the country they basically gave to the Japanese.
Yeah.
So what was cool about this show is it did not hide the imagery. Like the Statue of Liberty has been altered to actually be giving a Sieg Heil as opposed to holding up her lantern. There's Nazi flags hanging everywhere because they're basically running the country and all that stuff. I would love to see that with all the imagery and like the uncomfortableness that you feel watching something like that turned into a game where you're fighting.
That would be cool
for the country. That'd be cool, right?
Yeah,
now my real answer is that would be cool, but this is even better. I'm gonna just go all in. I'm gonna say I'm taking Rockstar because I'm gonna get the best of the best, and I want them to turn the Aragon / Inheritance trilogy or quadrilogy into an awesome open world real-time RPG. If not them, CD Projekt whatever, pretty damn good too. You don't necessarily have to be Aragon, but that's a cool world. I'd like to have you open world, just wander around Alagasia. Don't ever have to do it because that's an awesome world and you can do a lot of cool shit there. And to my knowledge, there was only ever one game made and it was based off the really garbage ass movie, which most of us in that fandom don't even acknowledge exists. So that would be really cool though.
Nice. I like it. Good answers. I like it.
So I was thinking here, by the way, we got to pick one for Silk in it. Do
we have to pick one for the our Baguette brother.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Do we think he's a monk? Maybe it's either that or like a ranger. We know he was an archer in the Olympics in Paris. but
what was he doing over there?
Does that translate over? Yeah,
I think so.
So it's either ranger or monk. I think I could see him doing either one.
I would go ranger.
Yeah, okay. I think ranger.
Yeah, I can see that. He's got the got the bushy beard thing going now too. So.
Oh god, I like ranger. That though.
Ranger.
We should put that in Discord and everybody can put what they feel they are.
We'll tear it to pieces with the infighting.
Yeah. I wouldn't be that.
You don't
I would never choose that class. Yeah, I thought you knew me.
Looks very French, wouldn't you, G?
Needs more baguettes.
It does.
Someone Photoshop a baguette instead of the arrow.
The old hard baguette.
It's like Peter Molyneux's new game where you can put bread on a sword.
Oh my god! I was gonna start out that like I want a game made by Peter Molyneux, and I didn't want to.
Do you know?
God, that guy is such a pompous. I can't stand him. I cannot stand him. Oh god!
No,
but he told you he made the best game ever made. Remember that? Why are you arguing with him?
I love Fable 1.
I agree, and everything after that was terrible.
Yeah. His promises in gaming are just phenomenal takes. Jesus Christ!
You just don't get it. All right.
Yeah,
we're not refined enough to get his what he's creating for us.
Yeah. Someday we'll get there.
This brand new game I envision that looks like it's 2005 all over again.
Oh my god! He was like, oh, it's it's in alpha. Like, dude, that looks like pre alpha.
Yeah.
Jesus, it's fucking awesome.
When's this game coming out? 2004.
Yeah. God, Jesus. Well, on that note, I think anybody else got anything to say? Kevin, Rick, anybody? Before we read people's their so at the end of the show, Kevin, we open up our fortune cookies and we give everybody their
Wait, hold up! You guys just have fortune cookies hanging around?
Yeah,
we bought them for this.
We buy fortune cookies.
Okay.
Do you have fortune cookies?
No, I don't. Every time I get Chinese food, I throw the fortune cookies away because I don't. They're horrible.
Oh, we buy them in bulk around these parts.
Got cases
full
of fortune
this
cookies.
Is why people tune into the show, Kevin.
I literally have a bag on top of my fridge of fortune cookies.
Last time I got a fortune cookie, it didn't have a fortune in it.
Oh my god.
Well, this one's for you. This one's for you, Kevin. Yeah, we read our community their fortune for their week. So this is for you and the community. So we've got
it says RIP.
yeah.
Yeah.
any game you like will never come to fruition.
Oh man.
Your creativity is a limitless wellspring. Remember to draw from it often.
Wow.
It kind of goes on topic with the question we just had. All right.
Is yours all written in caps? Because mine isn't. It looks like it's yelling at me. No, it's not.
No.
Mine is. So I'm going to not yell, but just imagine that I'm yelling into the mic. Okay. You are sociable and entertaining. That's it. That's
not a fortune.
I mean it.
That's not a fortune.
It's just what he needed to hear right now. That's all.
I can't. Oh, it's upside down. First of all, I can't get it quite, but you can see it. That's all it says.
Yeah.
It's all caps. I see it.
So remember, I yelled that when I said it. Like, just imagine I was screaming that into the mic.
I think your fortune cookie manufacturer doesn't understand what a fortune is.
Yeah.
There are times where you just read them and you're like, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense.
It says,
or this isn't a fortune.
Print fortune here.
Yeah, exactly. God. Well, Kevin, thank you so much for being on here with us. It's been great talking game news and a fellow JRPG lover on here. So we really appreciate you coming on. It's been awesome to have you, sir. Where can everybody find you?
Yeah, thanks again for the invite, guys. Had an absolute blast hanging out with you. It's it's refreshing to talk about JRPG sometimes instead of getting a glazed over look.
Right.
When you try to bring it out to your co-host. Love you, Sam. No, you can find me at the Muffin Mon on all social media. It's a 1-7 I Owen A. Follow us at Save Game Media. That is my outlet, Save the Game Media, but Twitter hates the word the. Yeah. So Save Game Media everywhere if you want to come check out my content. We got podcasts, videos going up most days of the week. So again, thanks for hanging out with everyone. The chat was great today. Loved seeing it. So
awesome. Rick, where can everybody find you?
Butch4969, good old Twitter, PlayStation Network, Steam, all that place. Discord, I'll be there. And I just want to again say thanks, Kevin. Thanks for showing up, man. It was a lot of fun talking to you. I appreciate you coming by.
Anytime.
Yeah, that was awesome. And once again, shout out to everybody in chat. It's been awesome with everybody in here. It's always a blast. So shout out to Baden, who just popped in real quick here, asking where the official Spreading the Nerd Discord is. I should create one, get one going here. But yeah, thank you all to the community for being here. It's always a blast interacting with you in chat and everything. So thank you very much for showing up. You can catch us Spreading the Nerd at over at X at Spreading Nerd, because you can't have the in there. And also Spreading the Nerd over on Threads. So we will I think that's it for this week. So we will talk to you next week. We have another guest coming along with us next week. So probably more in-depth conversation on Star Wars Outlaws next week, and some little extra information on Spreading the Nerd next week. A cool little announcement we got coming on. So that'll be next week, hopefully next Friday. So until then, folks, thank you very much for joining us, and may the RNG gods ever be in your favor.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.